Hey, got boys and girls. Mudsy here from Muay Thai interviews again. And my next guest, she was born in Canada but lives in Isaan, northeastern Thailand, with her husband Boom, where they run a not-for-profit gym for disadvantaged kids from the region. The gym's called Watthanaya, and she can also read and write and speaks fluent Thai and Isaan. She's the country manager for Tap Media and writes regular articles for The Fight Nation. She's one of the most selfless people you'll meet, and quite frankly, the world needs more people like her. I'm joined by Frances Watana. How are you, Frances?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for agreeing to have a chat. It's been pretty cool, and I just want to say I've seen some of your articles and what you're doing and with your gym, so I'm a big fan too. So thanks for doing what you do.
Thank you.
Um, I'm keen to hear about how you found Muay Thai along your travels, and um, somewhere down the line you ended up living in Isaan, which is one of the poorer regions of Thailand, and it's right off the map when tourists talk about Thailand.
Yes, it is right off the mat. So I started training Muay Thai when I was 14, and I was just really lucky, actually. I wanted to start boxing, and there wasn't a boxing gym where I lived. Funny enough, there was a Muay Thai gym, which is pretty funny because I grew up in quite a small town, small community, and boxing's obviously a lot more popular.
Yep.
But alas, we only had a Muay Thai gym. So I went down there and I was hooked immediately. I trained at the Pride Gym in Trail, British Columbia, and I trained there for at least 5 years. My coach had been to Thailand and he really, really encouraged me to go. So after I graduated from high school, I did a year working construction, and I bought a one-way ticket to Thailand when I was 19. Through mutual contacts, a man in Vancouver, Master Song Lee Singtong, who runs a gym there, put me in contact with a Muay Thai commentator. His name was Prasan, and he had actually planned to take me to Jitty Gym.
Oh yeah.
But on the way to Jitty Gym, he stopped by this street gym that was affiliated with the very famous Saltani Kun gym, and it had just opened. And our ring, no joke, was and still isn't a square. We were like in the corner of a somewhat of a parking lot in an apartment complex for really low income families in Bangkok. And like we were right next to this dirty canal and it stunk. The gym's still there. I still go visit. And it was there that I met my husband. And he was a fighter and a full-time employee. He did glass installation as well as fought. So he was worked to the bone.
Yeah.
When his mom got sick, we went home to Isaan to help farm rice. And we got married 6 months after we met. And that's how it all started.
Love at first sight,
Yeah.
Now, because while most foreigners come to Thailand, they'll come, for the beaches, the nightlife, the family destinations, etc. What was it that attracted you to the more slow, humble, and hardworking life out in the Isan region in northeastern Thailand?
Well, when I first came to Thailand, I came with the intention to fight as often as I could. And my gym in Bangkok was and still is amazing. They kept me busy. I was fighting a few times a month with them. But when my husband said he needed to go up country to go help his family, I followed him. And I was also able to keep very busy there. They fight a lot in Isan. I can't say anything necessarily attracted me or pulled me to the region other than the fact that I was in love.
Yeah.
And this is my husband's family, so I stand by him. And it just so happens that he lives on a farm.
Hey, I just wanted to ask are you getting reverb or is it just me?
What's that?
No, it's just me, just my headphones. Sorry
Oh,
about that.
yeah.
That's what I wanted to ask you. What was it like? You said you fought out in Isan as well as apart from in Bangkok and that.
Yeah.
What was it like back then as a foreigner fighting in Isan?
Well, when I first arrived in my husband's village, And just to be clear, my husband's village, even for Thai standards, is considered very underdeveloped.
Okay.
So we still don't have paved roads in the village, and families still collect and drink rainwater, and we still burn garbage. So it's, even for Thai standards, it's pretty rough there. I remember very specifically coming to his village and a child thinking I was a ghost because I was so white, running away and screaming. And I remember every day 10 to 15 villagers would show up and just stare at me. So it was a big surprise for everyone that I was there. A lot of people had never seen a foreigner. They wanted to touch my hair, touch my hands. I didn't speak Thai very well back then, and the Thai that I had learned in Bangkok was different than what they spoke in my husband's village.
Yeah.
So it was pretty overwhelming, and I was very young. But when it came to Muay Thai, that was like a language I spoke. So they'd pick me up, I'd jump in the back of the truck, and we'd fight. It was just so much fun. Bangkok was fun too. My gym, we did a lot of grassroots shows. I did fight on TV once or twice, but for the most part, like, we fought under underpasses and at festivals. So it was different, but the same. It's hard to put my finger on. But in Isaan, there's so many fights all the time. So I was kept very busy. And in Isaan, the side bet is really important. So all my fights in Isaan, we had a side bet, and a few truckloads of people would usually come along to contribute to the side bet and watch me fight. And there was always that kind of added pressure that I didn't feel when I was fighting in Bangkok.
Yeah, okay. And no doubt that's still always going to go on and keep going on forever and ever.
There's a saying in Isaan, if you don't have a side bet, don't bother taping your hands. So it's just really ingrained in the culture here for the kids fighting.
And did they match you up the old school way where they just line you up and compare heights and body shapes and sizes and go, yeah, you two look about the same?
I had a lot of matchups like that in Isaan and in Bangkok. Yep. And once I established myself in Isaan, promoters would just kind of call me in here and there. And sometimes I would go to watch fights, and then they'd be like, can you fight? And I was always up for it, so that was good.
That's probably some of the best times to like have a fight, when you don't have time to think about it or your opponent or anything.
Yeah, well, the only thing about that is I'd usually be a little bit more tired because maybe I hadn't rested during the day, but I always managed to get the job done, as they say.
Nice. And like we did touch on it, along with your husband, you both run a not-for-profit gym where you give disadvantaged kids a place to learn Muay Thai, feel safe, welcomed in a family-orientated environment. Whose idea was that, and how did that all happen?
So when my husband and I were living in Isaan about 10 years ago, life was good, but we weren't really going anywhere, and we weren't really able to help his family. We were living off the money that we would make gambling on me, because my fight purse was very small, and we would farm. So if we wanted corn, we would grow it. If we wanted frogs, we would catch it, things like that. And one day I just woke up and I thought, we can't be here anymore. It's just, we can't live like this. So I took my husband to Canada, and he learned English. He got his Canadian citizenship, and I went to university. So when I finished university, I asked my husband, what do you want to do? And he was quite concerned with about his father, because his mother had passed away while we were in Canada. So he said, I want to go home. And I knew deep down that it had always been my husband's dream to open up a gym in his village, but we didn't really actually intend to open up the gym. I was training with my trainer from Bangkok, who's actually my husband's neighbor in the village, because that's how it always is here.
Yeah.
So we were training, and I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 kids started showing up on a regular basis. And my husband was working in Malaysia at the time as a trainer. And I called him and I said, look, we've got all these kids here. Can we buy some equipment? What do you want to do? And he said, sure. So we put a bag in a tree and we trained in the dirt, and it just kind of happened very organically. I put up a video of us training on Facebook and it went viral. And people from all over the world, from, the international Muay Thai community, they had reached out to us wanting to help. And we were reluctant at first, but we started a GoFundMe and we raised enough money to build the gym. And now we have a monthly donor program. And so our gym is run on donations. So my husband and I, we don't take anything from the donor program, but we use that money to provide clean drinking water for the kids, doctor's visits, school supplies, nutritional supplements, field trips. They live with us, clothing, everything. And it's enough to just keep the gym going. And then, as you mentioned earlier, I have a job now with TAP Media. So things are going really good.
Yeah, no, definitely. And because you do work, well, most of the majority of the children that you do come in are disadvantaged in some way, or come from home with problems or broken homes or dramas. What are some of the normal day-to-day problems that these young kids face, but like people like you and I would just take for granted, or the Western culture would just take for granted?
A lot of the kids, from what I've seen, they're not getting enough nutrients. So that's a big problem. There's always a lot of food in Isaan, which is really great because you can catch frogs and crickets and fish. And there's the rice, which the people farm, is plentiful. So these kids are definitely not going hungry, but I would say that they're not getting the proper nutrients. They're not getting enough protein, they're not getting enough calcium, and they're probably not getting enough sleep either. So that's something that is very normal here. And that's definitely something my husband and I are aware of. So we're always making sure, calcium, protein, all the essential nutrients, minerals, we make sure that the kids are always given a lot of, food that focuses on those type of, I don't know what you want to say, but healthy food, essentially, that has all the good stuff.
Yeah, all the right nutrients.
Another thing the kids can struggle with at times is not having access to proper medical care. So there are good hospitals in Thailand, but they're very far from the village. And a lot of the villagers can't afford to get to the hospitals. So that's a big problem. So, we have a car and we have gas, and I take everybody to the hospital a lot. I take their cousins to the hospital, their brothers to the hospital. We help whoever we can. So when our fighters get sick, we're able to bypass the local clinic, which is pretty much just a Tylenol dispensary, and take them into the city. It's a long drive, but we do it, and get them access to proper health care as well too.
Yeah, that's a good one. Wow, that's crazy. And how has learning Muay Thai enriched some of these kids' lives, and what are some of the positive effects it's done for them and their families?
So my husband and I do run our gym a little bit differently than other gyms in Thailand. Most gyms in Thailand, they love Muay Thai, they love the kids, but they're fighter-only gyms. Yep. So the kids fight. The gym takes 50% of the purse, and the gym is responsible for their school fees and doctor's visits and all of those things. But again, the kids have to fight. So our gym, the kids don't have to fight. It's more of like an extended community center. We're very flexible. We have these 2 boys that come on a regular basis to the gym right now, and they just want to get ripped, So we're there for them. We can do that. But essentially what our gym is it's a safe space for children. It's a drug and alcohol-free zone, and it might even be the only drug and alcohol-free zone in the village. My husband and I are there every day for the kids, and my husband is especially an incredible role model to them. So we're just there, and the kids come and they can talk to us, and, I'll buy them electrolytes and milk and just let them hang out. Physical exercise is good for kids, getting them off the screen. And also, drug and alcohol problems amongst children in the village is very high, very serious. So it's a place for the kids to just have something to do. Boredom is very dangerous, and I think people in the West really don't realize how dangerous that is. Because boredom in the West is more boredom because you have so many things to do and you just aren't in the mood to do any of them.
Yeah.
But in Thailand, boredom is boredom, and it leads kids down the wrong path. So essentially, our gym is just a structured activity that they can take part in that's in a very safe and nurturing environment.
So is the gym is how do I word this? Is the gym like is at your home, or do you have a home and it's like separate, like you live away from the gym sort of thing, or do you know what I mean?
Yes, so the gym is at my husband's house.
Okay.
And we are currently saving money to build accommodation at the gym so that we can live there with the kids.
Yeah.
We live in a small town outside of the village, not far, and we rent 2 apartments that we live with the fighters. So the kids right now, kids come and go as well too, but most of the kids now, they live with us on the weekends and summer holidays, and then we have a few kids that live with us full time. It's not overly structured, our doors are always open. They can come and go as they please. But yeah, we're living in 2 apartments with all of our animals. It's about 10 kilometers from the village in a small town, but our goal is to save enough money to build accommodation so that we can live at the gym with the kids.
And no doubt you've obviously got classes structured, but because you do have kids living there, is it sort of like open 24/7 for them so they can go and hit pads and do things as well, or is it only at certain regimented times?
The gym is open all the time. There are kids that do go there in the morning and lift weights. There's no doors at the gym or gate or anything, so it's definitely there for kids whenever they want to have access to it. We do have certain rules like no sparring when we're not there. That's an important one. But you're free to hit the bag and the weights. Otherwise, we're there every day from 3 to 7.
Yeah, nice. And one of the young girls who trains at the gym, Nung Ning, I heard that she was actually raised by a ladyboy, which I find quite interesting. Would you be able to elaborate on that?
So Nu Ning, her mom, from what I've heard, was 15 or 16 years old, and her dad was a drunk. They didn't want her, so her mother, a transgendered woman in Thailand known as a ladyboy, took her in at just 6 days old. So she also has a little sister, similar circumstances, and her mom took her in as well too. So Nu Ning's mom is awesome, but she is also limited in what she can provide for her daughter. And I feel the relationship we have with Nu Ning and her mom is great because we're kind of there to fill the gaps. And obviously Nu Ning's mom too, she does come from an impoverished background. So, we make sure Nu Ning's got all her school supplies and doctor's visit, clean clothes, running shoes, all of those type of things. Her mom's very supportive of us. And funny enough, her mom and my husband's older brother, they were really good friends growing up. So it's like, a community, I guess.
Yeah.
But in Thailand, being a ladyboy, being transgendered, it's very common and it's very fluid here. So it's very, I think, humbling to be in this type of environment where things like this are totally okay. And I really like that, She was able to adopt 2 children that needed homes, and I definitely respect her for that. And she also values what my husband and I can provide and what Muay Thai can provide for her daughter. So she's very supportive. And Nu Ning's at the gym with us. She lives with us again, weekends, summer holidays, things like that. And her mom comes to the fights as well. So that's always fun.
That's nice. And I want to ask, have you had any ladyboys fighting for your gym ever?
We haven't, but my really good friend, Nong Rose, she's from the same region as ours.
Yeah, Non Rose,
Quite famous.
she's awesome.
Yeah, so I've been following Nong Rose's career for about 4 years now because she would be fighting on the same cards as us. And so we're quite, she knows my fighters and we know her, and, all the kids have seen her fight. And because she's from the same province that our gym is from,
Yeah.
there's like a sense of pride there too because she's from Kuala as well. So the kids really like her. And she actually fought one of my fighters. So she's very well known in the area.
Awesome. And she's doing quite well for herself these days in the fight scene.
She is. She's taking a little bit of a break right now, but she did have a really, really good run in Bangkok.
Oh, definitely. And like, I'm not gay or anything, but man, she's got some good shoulders on her. I'm jealous of her shoulders.
Yes. She's ripped. I've trained with her before. She is a biological male and she's solid as a rock. So she's known in Isaan for being like an incredible workhorse. And that's kind of her style of fighting. It's just go, 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 go.
It is.
Yeah.
It's just head down.
Yeah.
Go straight for it.
Yeah.
And also being a not-for-profit gym and trying to help so many people that are in need, you can't always help everyone.
Yes.
Has there been anyone you thought had real potential to do well, but for whatever reasons they just didn't stick with it or didn't have what it took?
I think the biggest, I don't know if you want to call it a tragedy or not, but was our young fighter Anne. She had 5 fights with us. She won 4. She lost 1. She had that fighter spirit, that work ethic. She really loved Muay Thai, and I think she really believed in us and believed in the sport as a tool of social mobility. She was very committed. And, she's just had it so tough. Her mom abandoned her. Her grandma raised her. Her dad got arrested. Her grandma died. And we tried to take her in, but her family was really resistant. And I get it. We aren't blood. And I think that they were concerned about that. Yeah. It was hard. I really fought hard for her, and I tried really hard to keep her with us. But in the end, her family took her to live in Khao Yai. And unfortunately, that didn't go over very well because she was living with her aunt, and they were living in someone else's house. So Anne always felt very out of place and very uncomfortable. So now that she's reached I think she's in grade 10 this year, so she's completed mandatory education in Thailand. She's now going to a technical school in Salapoli. She still visits us, and when she needs, I'm always there to help her. We send her money when she needs, within reason, obviously. And whenever she comes to visit, she always stays with us. I still secretly hope that she'll come back because she's definitely young enough to make a real career out of it. But unfortunately, when she needed a strong family unit, everything just fell apart for her at the same time. Her grandma was her mom, and losing, your mom when you're 13 is really, really tough. And then, with her dad being in jail, which kind of leads into another issue that we face here is most of these kids don't have parents. They're living with their grandparents. And that's really, really hard on the kids because it happened to my nephew as well. My husband's mother was raising him, and when he was, I want to say 9, she passed away. And it's not like normal. It's not a normal cycle of life, right? And it's really, really hard for these kids not having their parents present in their everyday life. And we really notice the gap. We really see it. So the parents are usually working menial labor jobs in Bangkok or Pattaya, which is the industrial district. So there's a lot of factories there because of its proximity to the ocean. Yeah. And they leave the children behind with their parents. So a lot of the kids in the village are being raised by grandparents.
Yeah, okay. And also another thing I wanted to ask is, because you do have like a lot of like the majority of the kids are, you know, from broken homes and from that sort of background. Do you often encounter the kids like having fights or having big problems with each other because of where they've sort of come from and the way that they process or deal with certain things and situations, I guess you could say?
In certain kids, yes, and in other kids, no, because one of the things is essentially that's normal here, living with your grandparents, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Unfortunately, it's more common than not. But we have one little girl at our gym. She does live with her mother, but her father was very abusive, and it got really bad. So her mom was able to leave, and they now her and her mom live with her grandma, like her mom's mom.
Yeah.
And at school, she was always getting into fights with other kids. And the thing is in these rural communities, there's no sort of outreach or counseling. The kids don't have access to things like that. So she was getting in fights at school, and then the teachers would hit her, because that's a form of discipline in Thailand, and yell at her, and it wasn't getting any better. And she's been training with us for about 8 months, I think, Muay. And the teachers actually came up to me and commented how well she's doing in school now that she's found Muay Thai, now that she has a martial art. She hasn't gotten into any fights at school, probably because the boys are scared of her. But it's a very positive to see that and to have that kind of, it definitely lets my husband and I know that we're on the right track. So there are issues like that come up, and you don't necessarily know right away what's wrong with these kids. There'll be something about them. I know Bat, he has a really, really bad temper, and he gets really frustrated. And he was terrible when he first came, and he's gotten so much better as well too. And I don't know if that was from being abandoned or if it's the fact that he lives with 4 other children, and there's never enough in that household. So you've always kind of got to be like have those survivor instincts.
Yeah.
Because it's one elderly woman and 5 children. It's there's not enough love to go around. So Bat, he had quite the temper, but he's doing a lot better as well too.
And do you find that a lot of those kids will channel their anger and aggression and bad tempers into their fighting?
100%. 100%. The kids, it's exercise essentially. They're getting fed right. They're getting the proper nutrients needed for healthy development, and they're exercising. So there's not really anything that can go wrong when you put those all together. And the kids get a lot of attention one-on-one at the gym as well too. They get to go on field trips. It's again, you just can't really go wrong. It's pretty easy when you think about it.
Yeah, real easy, it sounds like. Well, at least you make it sound easy. Now, as if you haven't already got enough on your plate, I hear you also take in, feed and house a lot of stray animals, and you make sure that they are well looked after. How many animals are you currently caring for? And I must commend you on that, because I don't think that's something I could do.
It is really challenging. How many animals we're currently caring for versus how many animals we've cared for and lost.
Yeah.
It was really hard for me at the beginning coming from Canada. We had one dog, and, he went to the vet and he got regular checkups and he was really well taken care of. And here, the closest vet is like 40 kilometers away, and they're very limited in what they can do. So we've lost a lot of animals, and it was really, really hard for me at the beginning. And of course I still struggle with it, and I still feel for them, but I've also just kind of learned that it is part of life. Life is rough here, life is tough here, and we can just, do what we can do. So I have no idea how many animals we've taken in. We've lost them a variety of ways, but we were there for them. You know, they got proper burials, and while they were with us, you know, they got everything that they needed. But right now, we have over 10 cats and 8 dogs.
Oh, that's
So,
nuts.
yeah. And 2 dogs. We had 12 dogs, but my cousin graciously took in 2 because 12 was too much. So she took, or did we have 12? No, we have 8 dogs. We had 10, and my cousin graciously took in 2. So we're down to 8 right now at this moment.
For now, tomorrow's a different story.
Tomorrow's a different story.
When you take in stray animals, do you get them neutered or desexed?
So we're looking for a good vet in the area that can do that, but we don't yet have access to one. So what they use in Thailand for females is a birth control shot, and it actually works really well. There is some controversy about it, but it is the best we can do at the moment.
Yeah.
So the females will get a shot every 3 months for about 3 to 4 shots, and then they just stop going into heat. It's very cost effective, and in certain villages, if the budget hasn't been used up, they will do it themselves. But we obviously, all the animals we take in, we give them the shot, and we are looking for a better vet locally that would be able to do, like, to spay and neuter our animals. But we are in a rural area, so it's harder to access those type of things. But all the animals we take in, they do get shots.
Yeah.
You know, all the basic vaccinations, and then with the birth control shots, it definitely helps a lot with keeping the population down.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because like I live in Chiang Mai, and I can't go running anymore around my area because I just get like growled and snarled at by, like, there's always like a pack of dogs on one corner, and it's and some, you know, you probably won't like this, but I always just think like maybe the population just needs to be culled just a little bit, just a little bit, like, yeah, because they freak the shit out of me. They hang around in their packs, and then it's actually stopped me from going running.
Yes, they can. When they get in the packs, they can get quite dangerous. Actually, in a lot of the tourist areas in the cities, it's a bit worse. I mean, we do have a lot of animals here, and we need to cut back, but I don't think it gets to the same level as it is in Chiang Mai, or I think some of the islands have been reported quite bad as well, too.
And do you find that they're completely different temperaments in the daytime to nighttime? Like, a lot of them in the daytimes, they'll be your friend, and then as soon as that sun disappears, mate, you are not their friend.
Not necessarily for our dogs, but obviously they know us, and, you know, we feed them. So we've been really lucky. We also don't go out at night that much because it's such a rural community that everything closes down at 7. So I'm not really out on the street very much at night. But because it's a bit, you know, more rural here, a lot of dogs do naturally die off, and essentially, I guess that does help with the population. But there's a lot more space here. There's a lot more space, and the temples actually are where a lot of the animals get their food. And it doesn't seem like it is an issue here, but from traveling in Thailand, it seems that it definitely isn't as bad as some of the tourist areas or the more populated areas of Thailand.
I also heard, you might be able to confirm or deny this, I heard a rumour that the reason why there's a lot of stray dogs and cats and stuff at temples is because the owners actually, if they don't want them, they drop them off, and they know that the monks will care for them and feed them. Is there any truth to that?
I don't know if the monks will care for them or feed them. Depends on the temple, because obviously, you know, it can be very overwhelming.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of leftover food at the temple, so that is for sure. I know at our temple there's a lot of strays there, and I wouldn't necessarily say that they're cared for. I mean, some of them are. Thai people are very good to strays. You know, they do what they can for the strays. They don't go out of their way, and that's just because they really don't have the resources to do that. But they do they always care enough for strays. Like, put it this way, the leftovers will always be fed to the dogs. They're not just thrown off and the dogs have to fight for them. They will put the food out for the dogs.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree with you that there. Got a few shops around my place, and you always see
Yeah,
the dogs hanging around in the evening.
they're very good about that, just kind of doing the bare minimum. And I understand as well too. It gets hard, biting off more than you can chew. When you have, for us, it's a lot. It's a lot of animals. We go
Definitely.
through a lot of food.
Yeah, I bet you do. And also, as I mentioned at the start, you are the country manager for Tap Media. Would
Yes.
you be able to explain exactly what it is you do and how that's all unfolded?
Okay, so Tap Media is a media company based in Hong Kong, and we run 3 websites that are all dedicated to the fast growing industry of Asian combat sports. So essentially, it's a very underserved industry. There are so many fights in Asia, and they don't get the attention they deserve. So we run a website called the Fight Nation, Rough, and Asia MMA, and it's dedicated to all combat sports: Muay Thai, kickboxing, Lethwei, boxing, MMA. And how I got the job was I was actually writing for Vice for the Fightland, and Fightland went under. It got taken over by Vice Sports, and I was just, reaching out to all of my contacts to see if anybody knew of a lead. And I was put in contact with Matt Eaton. He's the CEO of Tap Media. And I started working as a freelancer for him. And actually, my content and what I was publishing was doing really well. And also having so much experience in Muay Thai and being a fluent speaker of the language, I guess he saw, I don't know, some potential there, and he hired me on as country manager. So as country manager, I do a lot of things for the company, including our social media. I do a lot of networking, and I keep writing, and I also manage a team of freelance writers. And obviously, I'm very passionate about Muay Thai. I'm very passionate about the fighters, specifically from Isaan. Isaan does produce the most fighters and the most champions.
Yep.
It's documented. It's the truth, and I'm really grateful to have a platform to be able to get those stories out.
And I've also seen that you write some really interesting and well written articles for the Fight Nation, which is another way you are heavily involved in the Muay Thai scene, and I've thoroughly enjoyed reading them. How long have you been working on that for?
So my job as country manager, I still write for the Fight Nation and write for Rough, but I started freelancing for them, I think, in September of 2017. And then I started work as the country manager in January 2018. And I'm really grateful for the platform. And I also think that Muay Thai, essentially, it's still a very, niche sport. So it's really great to be able to get, kind of just get out there how great this sport is to the rest of the world.
You seem to barely have time for yourself these days. Do you sleep much?
I do sleep when the fighters sleep, but we do, when we're fighting a lot, we travel a lot. So this weekend I'm taking some fighters to Pattaya to fight, and next week we go to Mahasalakam. In August we have 4 or 5 fights booked, and luckily the kids get tired. So we're up early and we are pretty much go, go, go all day. But when the kids go to bed, I get to go to bed too. After the animals have been fed, of course, which is a process in itself.
Yeah, I bet it is. And not only are you like an adoptive mother to a lot of the kids, you also have your own young daughter.
Yes.
How has she adapted to living out in Isaan and all the things that go along with running a gym and being so heavily involved the way you guys are? Because I imagine she would have seen a lot of things that most foreign kids her age wouldn't even know existed.
Yes, for sure. She was born in Canada. I had her when I was in university. You and I, prior to this interview, were talking about how I am an incredible multitasker at all
Yep.
times. So,
Yep.
what better time to have a kid when you're halfway through your degree? So, she was born in Canada, and we moved back here when she was 4, and she's 8 now. So, she's been here 4 years. It doesn't always happen, but we do try to go home and visit family every year, mainly for her.
Yep.
In a lot of ways, she struggles, and in a lot of ways, she thrives. I mean, obviously, having to share her parents with a whole bunch of kids all the time, living in her house, sharing her toys, there are ups and downs with that because we do love the kids like family, and they are our family, but obviously, our daughter is very special to us as well. So we try our best to just let her know how much we care about her. Unfortunately, she does not like Muay Thai. So she lives at a gym, and even when I was going to university, my husband and I, we were obviously training at a gym every day because this is our life. So she's been raised in a gym. She's been going to fights since she's 2 months old, and she hates Muay Thai. But we've tricked her because now she does the Y crew for show at fights, and she loves that because she loves dance. So my husband's taught her a very elaborate Y crew that she now performs. She runs with the kids. She does sit-ups. She does push-ups. She likes to do her little gymnastics. So she's at the gym, and she's found her way within it. But yeah, she's really experienced a lot from a young age, death in the family, Thai funerals, poverty, just, not having access to running water, things that Western kids, like, honestly, I mean, even myself growing up, I couldn't fathom, So she's seen it all, and she, in that sense, is very well-rounded as a child because she doesn't really think twice about being fed frog or cricket or anything like that. And the bathroom doesn't have running water, and it doesn't really faze her. I think because she came here when she was so young, and essentially this is her family, her grandpa and her aunties and her cousins, this is her family, and there's a lot of love.
So when you guys go back, or if you can, once a year or whenever it is that you go back, does she find it more of a culture shock going back to Canada because she's so used to being brought up in Isaan?
There are certain moments where I do see certain culture clashes. Like she speaks English fluently thanks to Nickelodeon, which we have, and Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I speak English to her. My dear friend Abigail, my daughter's really close to her at Sitwin Chai, so she speaks English with Abigail. We have a lot of visitors that come. We've even had kids come from America and stay with us for the summer. So she's still got a lot of access to the West.
Yeah.
And she still has that identity as well, too. She is fluent in English. She speaks like a native speaker. She's been singing these songs by JoJo. I don't even know who that is. So it's not necessarily a culture shock yet, but I do see certain cultural clashes that come up here and there.
Yeah, okay. Because I was going to ask, is she a fighter herself? But I think you well and truly answered that question for me.
Yeah, no.
And I've seen a few people organise gym equipment donations for your gym in appreciation for what you do and you continue to do. If people would like to make a donation, how can they go about that? Do you have like a GoFundMe or anything like that?
So one thing I should add is that in addition to our gym and the kids at our gym, my husband and I work with 3 other gyms in the region that we deliver donations to, usually on a monthly basis, but we do get busy and it does get hard because our schedule already has us traveling a lot. But we help 3 other gyms in the area on a regular basis, and then we help lots of other gyms. I get phone calls from gyms here and there. Can you help? Can you do this? Et cetera, and we really just help as much as we possibly can. So we do have a website set up where people can make donations, and they also have the option on our website to become a monthly donor. And the monthly donors essentially are what keep our gym running. So they make sure that the kids have a roof over their heads, lots of food to eat, are able to travel to the fights, going to field trips. We do take the kids with us out a lot. We take them to the movies. We're teaching them all how to swim, so we will go to the swimming pool, things like that. And that essentially keeps our gym going. We also have people that reach out to us on social media who want to make a donation, and some people would prefer to donate a certain item, or they would like to possibly do a fundraiser and kind of see something tangible from that. So we had a gym in the States. There's a female fighter, her name's Casey Lynn, and she organized a fundraiser for us. And the goal was to raise enough money to buy one cow. And they smashed that goal, and they raised enough money to buy 3 cows. And we bought 3 cows for Bats Auntie, and now we have 6 cows. So that was really cool. So, I mean, the possibilities are really endless. Booster Fight Gear sponsored us for about a year, and that was amazing. They were really good to us. They have moved on, and that's okay. And Jarrett from Vertex, he gave us a donation recently, which has really benefited us.
I saw that last week or this week.
Yeah, so that was awesome. He pulled a lot of strings to get us that gear, and we really needed it. Gear is quite expensive in Thailand, and that's why I get called from so many local gyms. They honestly can't afford the gear.
Yeah.
So that was a huge help. So we really appreciate him doing that, and it's great gear as well too.
So is there like an actual page or anything, or if someone wants to make a donation, do they just send you a PM?
Our website, www.warwatthanaya.com, and that is the website. Like I said, you can make a one-time donation or become a monthly donor. And then for people that want to do something different, they can always send us a message on Facebook, Instagram. We're pretty open, even on our website, if there was something else they wanted to donate.
No, definitely. I'll definitely be keen to make a small donation there. I don't usually bring up like that sort of stuff with GoFundMe and stuff, because I often think a lot, not you, but a lot of people just sort of just do it for the easy way out. Like, I need a trip, so can you help me? I even had one guy, I won't mention his name. He added me as Muay Thai interviews, and then I get a message from him, and it wasn't like, hello, how you going, or my name's so and so. It was just directly a link to his GoFundMe page.
Yes, yeah.
And I just thought to myself, you cheeky bastard.
Yeah, I think that GoFundMe is a great tool, and it serves a purpose, but it's something new to society, and we definitely have to be very careful how we use GoFundMes, for sure. You have to be very careful, and even when you give money to nonprofits, I've heard stories in Thailand myself about, like I was joking to my husband. I was like, your village is like a shithole. Like, did anybody ever show up with some free stuff for you? And he's like, hell no. Like, a lot of that stuff, it doesn't make it into the communities. And the Red Cross, I think, was donating a bunch of shirts. And for a while, it was fashion amongst the poor Isaan fighters to wear like oversized t-shirts, and I would see them, and it was like machinists for Obama, I walk with Jesus, fear me. And I could tell from the quality of the shirt that they were made in America, like they were big American t-shirts. Yeah. So I tracked down the kids, and I was like, where are you getting these? And there was like a secondhand vendor at the local market. And I was looking at the clothes, and I was like, these are all donations, like 100%. These are donations that are being sold back to these people. Yeah. And, it happens. It happens. It's just the way the world works. But, I do think what's great about what my husband and I are doing is we're on the front lines. It's a grassroots organization. We're here with the kids every day. So we make sure that they get everything that they need and deserve. And because of all the support that we've received from our amazing donors and our corporate sponsors as well, we're able to help so many other gyms in the region. But it can get hard. Sometimes you give people money and it doesn't always make it to where it's supposed to go.
That's with some of the charities. Unfortunately, that is the. I've even heard like for tax purposes, like in America and stuff, people just open up like a charity thing, but they might only donate like all out of all the money they raise, they might only donate like 10-15%, and they pocket the rest of it. It's more like a tax thing.
And there's also just a lot of overhead with a lot of the charities as well too. They are nonprofits, but there's a lot of overhead, which is understandable. People do need to get paid for their work, but yeah, unfortunately, in certain cases, not all of it makes it to the kids.
No, but what you guys are doing is bloody awesome, and I well and truly commend you guys on your efforts. And if people wish to follow you, or they want to read your articles from the Fight Nation or from the Tap Media, or just to generally get in contact with you, have you got like Facebook or Instagram or that sort of thing?
Yes, we've got it all: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, as well as our website. And then the Fight Nation, you can go and click on my name, and you can kind of see all the articles that I've written on Muay Thai, as well as Rough. I do write for Rough occasionally, and again, you can search my name in there, and you can see some of the articles I've written about Muay Thai as well. And I'm very good with messages, or at least I think I am. So if anybody wants to, message me, I'm always there to answer.
And is there anyone that you wish to thank or give a shout out to?
Oh, there's millions of people that have helped us along the way. It's really hard to even. There's just so many amazing people that have done so much for us, and I just would hate to leave anyone out. So I'm very hesitant to answer that, but I love all of our donors and everything that they've done for our kids, and our corporate sponsors as well. Like, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys, so thank you. And I also want to thank, I also want to thank the kids that come to our gym every day, because it just, to be able to watch them grow and develop and think for themselves, and who just give it their all in the ring, and even if they don't fight, they just come to our gym every day. These little kids, I know their life is so hard, but they come to the gym every day and they're so happy. They're so happy to see us, and when I go pick the kids up from school, they come running over to me, and they're just filled with joy. And I mean, like, honestly, some of them, their lives suck. Like, these kids, yeah. They don't have beds. Whenever they would come stay with us, we got them like beds, and they would just fall off the bed, and they're like, I've never slept on a bed before. And they used to always get car sick in my car because they'd never been in a car, and so for Western standards, like, you'd be like, man, your life's tough. But these kids are just, they inspire my husband and I every single day to just give them more and more and more, and to just see them excel, and the joy and the happiness in their face. I definitely have to thank, all the kids that just come to our gym every day, because I'm so proud to be able to just be there for them. I consider it a great, I'm very humbled by their presence.
Well, Francis, you and your husband, you're 2 in a million, and we really, from behalf of myself and the whole Muay Thai community, we really appreciate what you're doing, and really respect and love your work. So thank you so much from that. And just before I let you go, I believe it was you and your husband Boom's wedding anniversary just yesterday or the day before?
Yes, it was.
So I'd just like to say congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we've been married 11 years now, so that's no easy feat.
11 years strong, mate, and still going stronger.
Yes, yeah, no, thank you for that. Yeah, we spent our anniversary at the gym with the kids, so we wouldn't have it any other way.
I was about to say you would not have it any other way. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yes, yeah.
Well, Francis, thank you so much for your time and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right, cheers.